Have you seen these kind of websites? They get more and more popular nowadays for many reasons, of which one might be that they all look stunning, and you just sit in front of your screen with your jaw on the floor. I think they all have in common is that they make use of 3D elements in their design. If you try to create something like that for yourself, there's basically no way around Three.js anymore, which is a 3D JavaScript library. This is also what I was trying to code in the last 6 episodes of the series. I played around with Blender, imported models into my code, made use of animations, and I despaired while trying to understand shaders. The thing which is usually a fundamental element of every website is what I got stuck on for months: page navigation. For a long time I just wasn't able to get it to work how I imagined it. Now you're gonna witness a short story of my rollercoaster of emotions that I went through in the past 2 months until one small Twitter post solved all my issues. It all started after my last video, where I modeled a really basic camera and implemented it in my project. By the way, I still haven't changed this at all. My idea was to have a menu on my landing page where the user could navigate to either my photographs or my coding projects, with some nice page transitions. To make it clear where the user was navigating to, I wanted to create a transition effect where the camera model would get smaller and move into the top right or top left corner, and the gallery would show up. Doesn't sound too hard, does it? The thing is, with the basic React setup for navigation, I encountered a big issue. The camera model would always just disappear as soon as I navigated to the next page, no matter what I did. There is an underlying issue here, and to understand that, we have to take a quick look into how Three.js works. Under the hood, Three.js uses WebGL to draw 3D scenes. WebGL itself is a very low-level system which requires a lot of code to get started. Three.js handles all of the boilerplate and makes it easier to use. It handles lights, shadows, materials, all that kind of stuff, and puts all that together into a scene, and the Three.js renderer draws the 3D scene to the JavaScript canvas. My guess is that when you navigate to a new page, the old scene gets completely removed from the canvas and the new scene gets added. So I had to find a way to work around this. Searching for solutions on Google just led me to the same 3 forum pages again, which were no help at all. ChatGPT at least tried, but nothing was really working for me. Now I felt like that I hit a wall and couldn't get any further, which is why I stopped working on this project entirely for a few weeks. But then, one fateful morning, while I was doom scrolling through Twitter in my bed instead of getting my lazy ass up, a tweet found its way into my feed. I looked at the video and was like, this is exactly what I want to achieve. While reading the replies of the original tweet, I saw the author linked a gist of how he implemented this. That was it. Well, almost. I still had 2 small problems. First of all, this code was written in TypeScript, and the last time I worked with it was like 3 years ago, so I'm really rusty. That is why at the beginning of this project I choose not to use it to not over-engineer my already way too ambitious project again. This meant I had to rewrite this code in JavaScript. The second issue was that this was missing an example of how to actually use it within React. So after a lot of trial and error and me using ChatGPT to understand what was actually going on, I got it working. With this magic being functional now, I can hopefully come one step closer to achieving my vision. In the past months, I often took breaks because I didn't have energy, motivation, or actually had a life sometimes, and these breaks usually ended because I saw something that could help me build this project. This time it was a video from Smith, who is producing really great tutorials for Blender. In this video, Smith shows a method of how you can animate a model based on this keyboard model. So naturally, I downloaded the model myself, animated it, and tried to import it in my Three.js project. And even though it is around 100 MB large, this was working surprisingly well. And with some JavaScript magic, I even got the animation working. Kind of. Looking into the future, it is not unrealistic that my model gets this big. In anticipation of this, I am currently researching ways to reduce the size of the models without compromising on their quality. You could think of it how we can compress files into the zip format to make them smaller, and this should drastically improve loading times. Now that I've got all of this working, I think I've built a pretty solid foundation for this project to build up on. Since the beginning of the series, I had an idea in my mind of how this website should look like in the future, and a lot of issues with getting this on paper, but I finally took the time to create a basic first design in Figma. Starting with my first AI-generated designs I used as inspiration, I iteratively created this design. Since I still want to incorporate my coding project somehow, I first of all tried to create something with photography and coding, and came up with this. Since I haven't created any good looking 3D models myself yet, I just used some images from the web to at least get a feel for how this could look like. But I felt like something was missing here, and I kept trying out things until I came back to one of my first AI inspirations. I really liked the look of this camera, so I thought I should just focus on one thing at a time and created a landing page for photography, without any reference to coding. This actually helped me a lot in my creative process, and I came up with different ideas. For now, I tried to use some elements of the AI-generated image itself in the background, combined with some of my own images, to create some depth, while the 3D model would float on top of these. I'm actually kind of happy with the results so far, but if you have some feedback or critique, always feel free to mention it in the comments. For everyone interested, I have my own Discord server where I regularly share my progress, problems, or just chat with you guys. The link is to join us in the description. One last thing though, I was thinking about starting to stream some of my coding sessions. Would you guys enjoy this? And even more important, where should I start to stream? There are so many possibilities nowadays, I don't really know. Thank you for your support and see ya!